Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today, we're going to be looking at something that I think affects all of us.
Excellent.
And that's how companies are using data to rethink their approach to people.
Yeah.
We've got this fascinating document on optimizing people,
Yeah.
and it really gets into the nitty-gritty of how data can transform HR and talent management.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's not just about crunching numbers, though. What's really fascinating is how this document connects people, analytics,
Huh?
total rewards, and data optimization to kind of paint this picture of a future where work is truly personalized.
Personalized work. Okay, now I'm intrigued, but
Yeah.
let's back up a bit.
Sure.
The document starts by talking about data optimization.
Hmm.
Help me understand.
Yeah.
Why is this so crucial in the world of people analytics?
Well, think of it this way. We're swimming in data these days,
Mm-hmm.
but it's often scattered, disorganized, and just completely overwhelming, right?
Right.
So data optimization is about making sense of all that information. It's like taking a messy pile of puzzle pieces and finding the right way to fit them together to see the full picture.
So it's not just about collecting data, it's about making that data
Yes.
usable and meaningful.
Exactly. And this document really hammers home the point that disorganized data can lead to some pretty disastrous decisions,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to managing people.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to make important decisions about hiring, promotions, or even compensation based on incomplete or inaccurate data.
Yikes.
Yeah,
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
it is.
So what's the key to getting this right? How do companies make sure they're using data effectively?
Well, the document stresses the importance of using all available data.
Okay.
And I mean everything. We're talking databases, employee surveys, performance reviews, even things like social media posts.
Wow.
It's about connecting the dots between what people are doing, what they're saying, and how they're feeling.
So it's about creating a holistic view of the employee experience.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The document highlights the importance of real-time data.
Okay.
Instead of waiting for quarterly reports or annual reviews, companies can now access data that's constantly updating,
Uh-huh.
giving them a much more dynamic and responsive understanding of their workforce.
Real-time data in HR, I can see how that could be a game changer.
Absolutely.
It's like having your finger on the pulse of the organization at all times.
Exactly. And all of this leads us to something called prescriptive analytics,
Okay.
which takes data analysis to a whole new level.
All right.
Instead of just telling us what happened in the past or what might happen in the future, prescriptive analytics uses AI to suggest actions and strategies.
Hold on. It's actually suggesting what to do.
It is.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, and it's already happening all around us.
Yeah.
Think about the For You page on TikTok
Okay.
that's driven by an algorithm that analyzes your behavior and predicts what you're most likely to want to watch.
Okay. I've always wondered how they seem to know me so well.
Right. It's all about using data to create a personalized experience. And this document suggests that we can apply those same principles to the world of work.
Interesting.
Imagine a future where your career path, development opportunities, and even your compensation are tailored to your individual strengths, interests, and goals.
Wow. A personalized career path. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
But also a bit intimidating.
I can see that.
What happens if the data gets it wrong?
That's a great question, and that's one of the things we'll explore further as
Yeah.
we kind of dive deeper into this document. But first, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how all of this relates to total rewards.
Okay.
This is where things start to get really exciting.
Okay. I'm ready. Let's talk about how data is transforming the way companies think about rewarding their employees.
So traditionally, companies have focused on compensation analysis, basically making sure they're paying people a fair wage compared to others in the industry. But this document argues that we need to move beyond that narrow view and embrace a more holistic concept of total rewards.
So it's about more than just the paycheck.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that employees value a whole range of things. Benefits, work-life balance, opportunities for growth and development. Total rewards encompasses all of those things.
So how does data come into play here? How can it help companies create a total rewards package that truly resonates with their employees?
This is where things get really interesting. Instead of just comparing salaries, we can now use data to understand what really motivates people.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of benefits do they actually value? What kind of work environment makes them feel most engaged and productive? Data can help us answer those questions and create reward systems that are aligned with those individual needs and preferences.
You're telling me data can tell us what makes people tick. I'm hooked. Tell me more.
Well, one of the most exciting things about this whole data-driven approach is the potential for personalization.
Okay.
We're moving away from those one-size-fits-all benefit packages that never seem to quite fit anyone perfectly.
You mean those flex plans where you can choose from a limited set of options? I've always felt like those never quite captured what I really needed.
Right? This document takes the concept of personalization to a whole new level.
Okay.
Imagine a world where your salary benefits and even your vacation time are directly linked to your individual performance and contributions to the company.
Wow, that sounds incredible. But I have to ask, how do we ensure fairness in a system like that? Couldn't there be unintended consequences or biases we need to be aware of?
Those are excellent questions, and you're right to be thinking about those things. The potential of data-driven total rewards is huge, but it's not without its challenges. Let's delve into those a little deeper.
All right, I'm ready to dive in. Let's talk about the potential downsides and how we can ensure that data is being used responsibly and ethically to create a better future of work for everyone.
I think one of the biggest concerns, and rightfully so, is ensuring that these data-driven systems are implemented fairly.
Yeah.
We don't want to create a situation where algorithms are unintentionally perpetuating existing biases or creating new ones.
So how do we guard against that? How do we make sure that data-driven total rewards is a force for good and not just a way to reinforce the status quo?
Well, the document really emphasizes the importance of transparency.
Okay.
Employees need to understand how the data is being used, what metrics are being tracked, and how those metrics are translated into rewards. No black boxes or secret algorithms.
Right, that makes sense. If people understand the system, they're more likely to trust it.
Exactly.
But what about those unintended consequences I mentioned earlier? Can you give me an example of what those might look like?
Sure. Imagine a company that uses data to track employee productivity and bases rewards solely on those metrics.
Okay.
On the surface, it might seem like a fair and objective system,
Right?
but what if some employees have access to better resources or technology? What if some roles are inherently more collaborative, making it difficult to measure individual contributions?
I see what you're saying. A system that seems fair on paper might actually disadvantage certain employees without even realizing it.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to consider the human element. We can't just blindly trust the data.
Right.
We need to use our judgment and empathy to make sure the system is working as intended and that we're not inadvertently creating unfair or demotivating situations.
So data can be a powerful tool, but it needs to be used responsibly and thoughtfully. It's not about replacing human decision-making, but rather about augmenting it with insights that can help us make better choices.
Absolutely. Now let's dive a bit deeper into this concept of total rewards optimization.
Okay.
This document suggests that data can help us move from these static, one-size-fits-all reward packages to dynamic systems that adapt to the needs of both the employees and the organization.
Okay, this is where I get a little lost.
Sure.
What does a dynamic total reward system actually look like?
Think of it like a personalized online shopping experience.
Okay.
You know how algorithms track your browsing history
Hmm.
and recommend products that you might be interested in?
Oh, yeah. My online shopping cart is basically a curated collection of things I didn't even know I needed until an algorithm told me I did.
Exactly. We can apply those same principles to the world of work. Imagine a system that tracks your skills, interests, career aspirations, and even your life stage,
Wow.
and uses that information to recommend development opportunities, benefits packages, or even flexible work arrangements that align with your individual needs.
Wow, that's next level. So instead of just choosing from a preset menu of options, I get a curated selection of rewards that are actually relevant to me and where I am in my life.
Precisely. And the best part is it's not just about meeting the needs of the individual employee. Data can also help companies optimize their total reward spending to ensure that every dollar is being used effectively to support the overall business goals.
So it's a win-win. Employees get rewards that are meaningful to them, and companies get a better return on their investment.
That's the idea. But to make this vision a reality, we need to get a few key things right. The document outlines several important elements of a well-designed, data-driven total rewards program.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are the secrets to success here?
Well, one of the most important is interactive communication. It's not enough to just send out an annual benefits enrollment email and call it a day other day. We need to create a two-way dialogue between the company and its employees.
So more than just ticking a box, it's about having a conversation.
Exactly. Employees need to understand how their contributions are being measured and how those measurements translate into rewards. They need to feel like they're part of the process, not just passive recipients of a predetermined package.
That makes a lot of sense. Transparency and open communication build trust, and trust is essential for any successful reward system. What else is crucial?
The document also highlights the importance of what it calls true cost analysis.
Okay.
This means going beyond just looking at the sticker price of a benefits package and understanding the real cost of those benefits to the organization.
Okay, give me an example. What does that actually look like in practice?
Let's say a company offers a generous tuition reimbursement program as part of its benefits package.
Okay.
That's a great perk, but it also comes with a cost to the company. True cost analysis involves tracking things like employee utilization of the program, the average cost per employee, and most importantly, the return on investment.
So it's about asking, are we getting our money's worth from this benefit?
Precisely. And by analyzing the data, companies can make informed decisions about which benefits are truly valuable to employees and which ones might need to be reevaluated or even eliminated.
I'm starting to see how data can be a powerful tool for making smarter decisions about total rewards. But it's not just about the numbers, is it? We also need to consider the human element and make sure we're creating a system that's fair, equitable, and motivating for everyone.
You're absolutely right, and that's where the document's emphasis on fact-based design comes in. It's about using data to monitor performance metrics at all levels of the individual team department and using those insights to inform reward strategies.
So instead of just rewarding people for showing up, we're rewarding them for actually contributing to the company's success in a way that's measurable and meaningful.
Exactly. It's about creating a system that's aligned with both individual performance and overall business goals. And finally, we can't forget about the importance of equity, diversity, and inclusion in total rewards optimization.
Of course, everyone should feel valued and rewarded fairly, regardless of their background or identity.
Absolutely. And data can be a powerful tool for ensuring that happens by analyzing compensation. Data companies can identify and address any pay disparities that might exist between different demographic groups.
Right?
We can also use data to understand the unique needs and preferences of a diverse workforce and tailor reward programs accordingly.
This all sounds incredibly promising, but I have to admit, I'm still a little apprehensive. It's a lot to wrap my head around. And I'm wondering, what does this mean for the average worker? What are the potential implications for someone who's not a data scientist or an HR expert?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll explore further as we continue our deep dive. But I think it's important to remember that data-driven total rewards is still in its early stages.
So we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Exactly. And as the technology evolves and we get better at collecting and analyzing data, I think we'll see even more innovative and personalized approaches to total rewards emerge.
I'm excited to see what the future holds, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's step back and consider some of the potential challenges and ethical considerations of data-driven total rewards.
Okay.
We've talked about the positive aspects, but it's important to acknowledge that there are also potential downsides we need to be aware of.
Yeah, I think one of the things that comes to mind for me is, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits of using data to personalize total rewards. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there are also potential risks and challenges.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that we need to be mindful of as we kind of move toward this more data-driven approach to HR? Well, I think one of the biggest concerns is, the potential for data breaches and privacy violations.
Right.
We're talking about collecting a lot of sensitive information about employees, their performance, their salary, their health benefits, and we need to make sure that data is being stored securely and used responsibly.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's one thing to use data to recommend, a new training course or a different health insurance plan.
Right.
But it's quite another to use it to make decisions about, hiring, promotions, or even terminations.
Right.
So where do we draw the line?
That's a complex question, and there's no easy answer, but I think it comes down to transparency and consent.
Okay.
Employees need to be informed about what data is being collected, how it's being used, and what control they have over it.
So it's not just about having a privacy policy buried somewhere on the company intranet.
Right.
It's about having an open and honest conversation with employees about how data is being used to shape their work experience.
Exactly. And it's also about ensuring that employees have the right to opt out of certain data collection practices if they're not comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Data-driven HR should be about empowering employees, not controlling them.
I like that empowerment, not control.
Yeah.
But what about the potential for bias?
Right.
We've seen how algorithms can perpetuate and even amplify existing biases in other areas of society. So how do we ensure that that doesn't happen in the workplace?
That's a critical question, and it's one that data scientists and HR professionals are really grappling with right now. But one approach is to, carefully audit the data that's being used to train these algorithms and make sure it's representative of the diverse population of employees.
So if the data set is skewed towards a particular demographic group, the algorithm might make biased decisions without even realizing it.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to have human oversight in the process. We can't just blindly trust the algorithms.
Yeah.
We need to use our judgment and our experience to ensure that the decisions being made are fair and equitable.
It sounds like data can be a powerful tool for creating a more personalized and rewarding work experience, but it's not a silver bullet.
That's not.
We need to be mindful of the potential risks and challenges and use data responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. Data-driven HR has the potential to transform the workplace for the better. But it's up to us to make sure that happens. We need to approach it with a critical eye, a commitment to transparency, and a deep respect for the individuals whose lives are being shaped by these technologies.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance between leveraging the power of data and preserving the human element of work.